Awesome. Well, huge welcome everybody to our exciting conversation tonight. Now, I'm really excited to be talking with these four beautiful people that are representing Australia and New Zealand. Now, unless you didn't join us at our conference, which I'm sure you all either attended or have watched back live by now, if you haven't, you want to make sure that you do. These four people were our amazing winners. At the end of the day, we had great excitement as we got to recognize our partners of the year and our rookies of the year for both Australia and New Zealand. So what I first want to do is I'm going to let them introduce themselves as we go forward. So let's start off with our rookies of the year, and we'll start off with New Zealand. So Pauline, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody who might not have met you before and tell them a little bit about your journey?
Thanks, Celine. I'm Pauline. I'm from New Zealand. I am curious to see. I've been in the business now coming up 3 years. First decision I ever made. Before I found this amazing business, I was in retail. I actually left early childcare and went into retail, and was in a position where I was really badly bullied. So a year and a bit afterwards, they finally managed me out, and I needed to find something that resonated with me. I was in a position where I was scared to leave my house, really depressed, really unsettled, and this opportunity came along. So I'm really thankful that I've got that. So that's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pauline. Lovely to hear that part of your story, and so glad that you've found a home here in the Juice Plus company. So our Rookie of the Year for Australia, Kimberly, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, guys. So honoured to be here with you tonight. My name is Kimberly Welman. I'm a mum to 3 children within 19 months of age, including a crazy set of twins, and a proud wife to my husband, Ben, who's also in the business now with Juice Plus. We live on the Gold Coast in Queensland. And before joining this business, we really felt trapped and capped. We felt like that hamster on a wheel, just going round and round and round in life. My husband was working in his traditional small business. I was working full time as well. And we just kind of hit a point in our lives where we felt like this glass ceiling had been put on us, and we just didn't really know how to break through and take our life to the next level and really set ourselves up so that we could live life in accordance to our highest values. So when this business came along, it gave us the opportunity to just tick a lot of the boxes that we were looking for. And we're just so honored and grateful that we're in this space now. I've been in it for 2.5 years and recently hit NMD, and it has changed our lives both personally and professionally as well.
Love that. Thank you so much, Kimberly. It's awesome. And now to Partner of the Year from New Zealand. Natane, would you like to share a little bit about your story?
Thanks, Celine. So my name's Natane, and I have been a part of this business for 2.5 years. I am a mama of 2 gorgeous girls, and prior to coming into this, I was working in corporate, and I suppose what I was doing just really wasn't aligning with my values, and I felt that I was, I guess, destined to do more with my time and really just passionate about making an impact in the world, and I wasn't getting that fulfillment in my job. So also, I was in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy, so looking for a way to be able to create an income and make an impact, and also be home with my beautiful baby. And I suppose this kind of came into my life at the perfect time with where I was at in my life. So I just, at that time, I said yes to this, and it has been such a profound journey, you know, as professionally as well as personally, in terms of the growth that I've been able to get within this business. So that's kind of it.
Awesome. I love it. That's perfect. Excellent. And last but certainly not least, our Australian Partner of the Year, Matt Thompson. Matt, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, thanks, Celine. I'm honoured to be on here tonight with the other winners. Yeah, my name's Matt Thompson. I'm from the Gold Coast, Australia. I've been around the Juice Plus business now for 5 years. My partner first started it, and that was my first exposure. So 2.5 years later, I was able to then jump into the business and lean in full time. So prior to jumping into the business, I owned and ran a construction company here on the Gold Coast, and it was probably the type of business most people would aspire to have. But it got to a point for me where we grew it to a certain point and we wanted to double that. I just got it to the certain point where the risk reward didn't really work out. And then I really started to pay attention to what my wife was doing, not wife at the time, but wife now, was doing with Juice Plus, the people, the community, the purpose behind it. So yeah, it's an amazing business model. So being able to get involved with that now full time, yeah, it's been incredible.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. That's fantastic. And, to all of you who are watching us this evening, you will see that there's probably any one of these people, there's part of your story that probably resonates as well. And so what I really want to show you is that, for you, whatever your story might be, you can achieve whatever it is that you want. So you also can be recognized as Rookie or Partner of the Year. So if that's part of your aspiration, what I would love then is, of course, for our winners to share some of their tips, maybe their secrets or their lessons that they've actually learned over their journey, so that you can actually then kind of, take all of those hints and tips, put them into action, and be on here next year. So let's start around the table again. So Pauline, starting off with you, darling, have you got any tips, wisdom, or lessons that you'd like to share with the audience this evening?
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, just believe in yourself. And I think your biggest one would be to believe in what you're doing. So if you have that belief in, the company, the business, the product, then go with it. You're going to get, people that aren't going to agree with you, but, it's all about you and what makes you happy. Stay true to yourself, be authentic. It's your story to tell, no one else's. And just, constantly be consistent.
I love that about consistency. I know we were chit-chatting the other day, and one of the things that you've said, even through some of the challenges that you've personally had this year, is that you have remained consistent on a daily basis with your DMO. Can you just share what that looks like, so that those who are listening can kind of go, okay, you know what, I could probably do that?
Yeah, so I have used my pain to push through a lot of my work. Not always has come out on top, but I just make sure that that's the one thing that I am showing up for, is this is what I've always wanted. I've got a goal plan. So if I don't stay consistent, then, that's going to take longer to achieve. So I always connect. I'm connecting. I'm following up. I just reach out. So I'm probably someone that would probably be more face-to-face if that helps. But I genuinely want to know what people are feeling and where they're going from. So I do connect, I follow up, I send links when I can. I'm always inviting, not necessarily getting the, the people doing the getting on and jumping on, but I do send them out. And of course, I'm always adding people into my friends list.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Pauline. Fantastic. Next, we have Kimberly. Kimberly, do you want to share some of your wisdom, tips, or lessons from your journey so far?
Yeah, thank you. I would love to. For me, obviously being super clear on what my top 3 one-year goals are, that's always very high on my agenda when I'm looking at my vision for the year ahead. But then making sure that my diary actually reflects the daily action that needs to happen for me to go and tick off those goals. And that was the real game changer for me this year, because I've always had this vision and I've always had these goals, but the reality was my schedule actually didn't match what I was looking for. So the DMO is obviously the highest paying activity that we can do in this. And it's also a great way to build confidence, because when you have a checklist and you actually just tick it off, that straightens the posture, right? And that builds the confidence, which a lot of people are looking for in this business. So I think coming into it and just understanding that we all start as trainees. We're here to learn, right? So go through, and as that DMO kind of starts to compound, the skill set grows and we get more confident in that. But to be honest, Celine, the big switch that happened for me this year was I've always been a hard worker. I have great work ethic, but I needed my mindset to catch up with the actual action that I was taking. So, you know what? Courage is a muscle. Self-belief is a muscle. Fear of failure is a muscle. Outshining other people, they're all muscles, and we have to condition them every single day, not just on the days that we feel like it. Because when I went to work on that area of my life, I reduced the overwhelm. I stopped being attached to the label of, I don't have time, this is too overwhelming, there's too much to do. And I found clarity. And when you find clarity and take the time to really calm your mind every day and step into the identity that you want to create, it's incredible the ideas that start to flow to you, the thoughts that start to pop up, and you're like, that's an awesome idea. But you've got to take those ideas and you've got to put them into action. But when it's purposeful action, you present differently. Your conversations are different. You kind of show up with more certainty as well. So that has been the real foundation for me in terms of that next level of growth that I was really looking for.
I love that. It was funny, everything that you were saying there was resonating around, like, I've just been, for those of you who are looking for a good book, even around some of the things that, you know, Kimberly's just shared with us. I'm studying this, reading it and listening to it, and I'm actually working it through our leadership team here. And it talks about that, you know, the courage and the consistency and having to actually work the muscles and build the muscles around that to be able to get the results that you want. So I love that you worked on that. Was there anything else other than those consistent actions, which I think are one of the most important, because I think that's where courage and confidence definitely does come from. And that, was there anything else in particular that you did to really kind of shift that mindset, to stay on track with that mindset?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I created a checklist for myself. I love a checklist and ticking it off because you know, we're creatures of routine. And again, when we want to condition something, we've got to go to work at it every day. And you know what? It's kind of like this business. It's the same thing day in and day out. That doesn't need to change. So for me personally, it is my meditation. It's calming my mind, and that's not finding hours to go and sit in the Himalayan mountains. For me, it's after school drop off. And it's out the back. I don't open up my phone or my computer or get into work mode until I've done that. So that's around about anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. And then I lead into that vision creating time, which is more about manifestation. What is it? You know, looking at that goal, visualizing it, picturing it, and just taking the time to just calm down the mind. As I said, it kind of creates space then, and it gets rid of all of the clutter for the fresh ideas to come up. So it's usually in those 5 to 10 minutes after I've done that, that suddenly, you know, these thought processes are coming through, and I'm like, I need to start doing this. Oh, I forgot about that conversation. I know exactly where to pick that up now. You've got to give you've got to give yourself the space and the time to really just, I guess, get that clarity. But for me, it's meditation, it's manifestation, and it's also living the mission, right? We're a part of a global health company. We have a really big mission, and living that, being a product of the product, but also doing my exercise, eating well, that makes me show up in my peak state as well. So strong body, strong mind, and vice versa. And then you've got a strong business.
Yeah, I love that. I really love that. Joe Dispenza talks about the fact that, like, you know, unless we're allowing the space, whether that's through meditation, prayer, whatever it might be, to quieten our minds and just to listen, we're not going to receive the downloads from the universe, God, whatever it is that you believe in. And so I know myself, if I don't have that time first thing in the morning to actually have my time in the Word and have that quiet mind, my day doesn't go according to plan. It's quite interesting that. So thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. All righty. Over to you, Natane. Tell us some wisdom, some learnings. What would you like to add to the conversation?
I can really, first of all, resonate with a lot of what you shared. I think part of my journey has been one of inner growth, or in doing the inner work. Like, I think doing the work, when I say work, there's kind of two aspects to this. When I think of doing the work, it's, you know, doing the high five pain activities and doing all the things that we know needs to be done and that we're taught through all of our incredible leaders that have gone before us. But I think part of what's really allowed me to expand and to grow has been doing that inner work, to work on my self-belief, to work on my self-worth. Because I felt that where I was within my business along my journey, I kind of look at it from this mentality of growth. Like, I feel like I'm always just show up with a beginner's mind, because there's so much knowledge that I can learn, that I can relate to, you know, doing the work as in doing your DMO, but also that inner work. And I think the pivotal moment of change for me is when I spent time and dedication to doing the inner work, so that inside I felt worthy of where I wanted to be, because there was a dissonance between where I was, or where I felt internally, to where I needed to be or where I wanted to be. So I had to look at where I was and be like, okay, what do I need to learn here? How can I grow? How can I expand so I can really step into the person that I really want to be and that I believe that I can be? I just had to kind of, you know, as she said, like, do their muscles, like work on the things that need to be worked on, my self-worth, my self-belief, and all of those parts of me to allow me to show up and step into who I want to be and where I want to take my business. So I think for me, the biggest thing has been really open to doing the work, and being emotionally brave as well. I think a lot of the time within our business, and just life, we are faced with many, many challenges. So I had to be really emotionally brave to really kind of just confront the things that were coming up for me, and use them as spaces for me to really grow and expand. So yeah, I think that's been the biggest one, like being emotionally brave and being really open to doing the work. And then through that, I've been able to shift and move past my blocks and challenges to really step into, you know, who I believe that I am, you know, who I truly am, and not just based on these conditioned beliefs of what I thought that I was based on previous experiences or being conditioned to believe of who I was.
I love that. I love it. And again, it's so funny because, you know, it's amazing, isn't it? How everything all links together. Again, Brené talks so much about being brave and adopting all of that, and how you actually show up and live through that in the world, and how that then leads to you being able to have more success as well. Fantastic. Thank you so much, darling. That was amazing. All right, Matt, over to you, my friend. What have you got to share and add to the conversation?
I'm probably going to put a bit of a masculine touch on this.
That's cool.
But I think first and foremost, you've got to get on the products. I mean, we're working for the Juice Plus company. We're selling Juice Plus. So you need to be a user of the products. So I just don't know how you can expect to sell the product without using it. And I think what you'll find is that you'll fall in love with the products, and then the likelihood of you finding someone else that loves the products as much as you is much higher. With the second thing is, I think more so on the training side of it, is just become resourceful, refine that skill of becoming resourceful. We've all got such good training platforms with search functions, so the answers are there. And sometimes I think you'll find if the resource isn't there or created, just take ownership and go create it yourself if it needs to be done. But what you'll find is 95% of the resources has already been done. The hard work's already been put in. And final tip is just 100% ownership. Again, these all come back together, but you're a business owner. It's your business, your future. Now, I think it's important to show up how you want to be paid.
Sorry, I got excited there. I forgot to unmute myself. But yes, I love that. I love those tips. And I think especially, well, again, starting it out from the beginning, and amen to, you've got to be a product of the product. You know, I recorded a little video actually on you recently about that is the number one tip. It's the first step in any journey kind of thing. And I learned that early on in my career. You've got to be a product of the product. But just that last line there where you said, it just encompasses so much. You got to show up the way you want to be paid. I love that, because if you want a part-time income, that's cool. But if you actually seriously want to be able to have choices, and I think most of us do really believe that we want to have choices, well then, You know, choices actually does equal work. There is no such thing as a quick route to the top. You've got to actually go and do the work along the way. Love that. That's fantastic. All righty. Okay, let's run around the table then, and like a 30-second. Okay, what am I excited about as I go from here? Pauline, it's back to you, darling.
Oh, totally excited to achieve the goals that I've put in place and finally do something that is for me and that I've achieved it on my own without anybody's influence, if you want to say it that way. Yeah.
I know what you mean, and you've had an interesting year for yourself personally, so I totally get where you're coming from when you actually say that. So good on you, girl. Excited to see that for you. Kimberly, what about you, darling? What are you excited about?
I'm excited to just create even more abundance in my family's life, immerse them in this community. And you know what? I'm also super excited just about the vision that Juice Plus has globally. I think what we've learned this year in the conference and whatnot is that we are in the right place at the right time. So I'm excited to expand globally and take that to a new level. But also, I'm just so grateful for the inspiration that I get to feel daily. And I feel a sense of responsibility of passing that on to as many men and women as we possibly can, because the secret to life is really giving. And there's a really beautiful feeling in that gift of sharing what we have. So that's it.
Amen to that. Amen. Natane, what about you, darling? What are you excited about?
Yeah, I'm just really excited to, like, the vision that I had when I first came into this, like how slowly bits and pieces are really unfolding, and to really just step into the grand vision of what I want my life to look like, what I want my family's life to look like, what I get to see, you know, these women that I get to share this journey with, what I get to see them really, you know, be brave and step into their incredible power and then create the life that they came in here to create as well. So it's such a beautiful thing that we, you know, as we're dream keepers, as I think we've been told so often, is that as we hold space for other people's dreams, we get ours along, so we get to do it together. So it's such a beautiful thing that, you know, as I get my dreams, I get to see other women really get theirs, or other men as well, really get theirs. So I'm really excited to see that just come to life.
I love that. Awesome. And Matt, bring it home, mate. What are you excited about?
We've partnered with a company that's been around for 50 years. So I'm excited for the next 50. I'll be 80 at the Juice Plus conference, wherever it will be. And the growth that and expansion that the company is currently doing and has already done, the opportunity that we've got is huge. The growth that they're currently doing is huge. So the global impact that we're going to have, that's what we're pumped about.
Absolutely. And I don't want to pigeonhole you, Matt, but I do want you to talk, well, for one, you know, just one thing to the blokes that might be watching, you know, and whether they're the partners of partners or whether they actually have come into the business. And sometimes the guys sometimes say to me, it's a very female business kind of thing. And I'm going, you know what, it doesn't have to be. What would you say to guys that are actually watching tonight that maybe have just been sitting on the fence or playing a little bit small and haven't fully embraced the opportunity in front of them?
First and foremost, to the partners of the franchisees, or the partners of the partners.
Yeah.
I think the first and foremost thing is get behind your partner and support them. I think that's what it is for most people at the start. And I think I see some partners that aren't so supportive and others that are supportive, and it just gives them such a head start when the partner is on board. I think the opportunity that we have and are able to create with the business, once you really get in and look at it, look at the numbers, look at what's possible, it really does make sense. It's a really smart business model. And I guess what female dominated, I mean, look at the numbers. There's the guys that are in doing this business are killing it. You look at GoPro, you look at the 7-figure earners, it's mostly guys. So the masculine energy, when you partner it up with the feminine in this business, is incredible. So have a closer look, get educated.
I love it. Thank you so much. I love that, because I agree with you totally. I mean, you know, when a bloke actually switches on to go for it, it might seem like it's a female dominated, but it's actually, you know, not, when it kind of, you know, goes through to the top and you start to look at those top earners and that as well. So thank you. You know what? I feel so blessed to be able to do life and business with you guys. I really do. You know, your wisdom and your, you know, just your willingness to share with our greater team means so much. I know that there will be people that are listening tonight that just kind of go, oh my gosh, that's my defining moment. That is, I just needed to hear that one little bit. And it can be that for me, it was one person speaking on stage that suddenly I resonated with, and it completely changed the future of my career 27 years ago. So I know that there was somebody there that was, you know, listening to you that kind of got, oh my gosh, alrighty, that's me. I know I can paint myself into that picture. So thank you for sharing with us, for, you know, sharing your wisdom, for sharing your journey, and for letting us know what you're excited about, because I'm most definitely excited for the next 50 years. I'll be 105, and I'd already planned to live to 103 to beat my grandmother. So a couple of extra years, I've got a new goal now. So I'm with you, Matt. We will be there going, woohoo. Excellent. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate you. Well done.